Just because you know how to swim doesn't mean you can't drown. All it takes is 2 inches of water and 2 minutes to drown. Drowning is the second leading cause of death amongst children and 5th leading cause of death for adults in the United States, and in some countries it's even worse. And that's why we started World Swim Day, to celebrate the water but also raise awareness for drowning prevention and water safety. World Swim Day is coming up real soon. By the time you watch this video, it's the 4th Saturday of October, October 28, 2023, hashtag World Swim Day. And we're even giving away an Apple Watch. You can get your own official World Swim Day medal. Check it out, linked in the description. And we've partnered with some amazing organizations, including Swim Strong. So all the proceeds will be donated to them. And this is an organization that is focused on teaching people not only how to swim, but also how to be water safe. They've been doing it for 17 years. Over 50,000 lives have been saved, have been changed for the better. So it's an amazing cause and really speaks to the power, what happens when we come together. So it's so important because half of the population can't even swim. But in today's video, I want to share with you guys, even if you do know how to swim, some pro tips so you can reduce the likelihood of your own drowning, but also be water safe as well. Now, the first area I want to talk about is shallow water blackout. This is essentially where you pass out underwater while you're swimming, or maybe you're swimming and you just pass out because you're holding your breath. You're doing a hypoxic training set. So even if you're a more advanced swimmer, this can happen. And it's happened far too many times. Countless times, elite level swimmers have pushed it too far. They pass out underwater and they never come back. But the pro tip here is to make sure you have supervision with a coach and just be smart. Know your limits. And even if you're a beginner swimmer or a more advanced swimmer, you can push yourself pretty far. And if you push yourself too far, you're gonna pass out underwater when you're trying to hold your breath. You're really trying to maybe show off, you're at a pool party, whatever. It can happen. So make sure you're smart, have the coach supervision, and don't do anything stupid, and push yourself to the point where maybe you'll black out. Because if you black out, you might never come back. Now, another area I wanna focus on is swimming in extreme heat or extreme cold. Because if you swim in heat, you have what's called heat exhaustion. Your body is trying to cool itself. So if you're in a pool and you're training and it's too hot, we've all been there, and you feel really exhausted, your heart has to work so much harder. Maybe you're in the open water, perhaps you're swimming with a wetsuit in the open water, the water's hot, the sun is out, your body's working, and you're wearing a black wetsuit. All of these things can come together. You can get cramps, you can pass out, you can have heat stroke. Unfortunately, this has happened for swimmers all over the world. Most notably and recently, Fran Crippen in 2010 made headlines where he basically had a heart attack from heat exhaustion in the water because it was too hot. He was swimming with a wetsuit. And so this happens far too often. On the flip side, cold shock. So if you're in cold water, if you're swimming in an environment that requires your body to heat itself. Now this can work a little bit differently in a cold environment because your body can go into shock right away. Immediately, you can get the breath sucked right out of you. You can basically cramp up and you can just sink underwater. Your body isn't able to save itself. And that's why this is so dangerous, because you can't breathe, you can have muscle spasms, and this cold shock is just as dangerous as the heat. So pro tip is to make sure you have gradual acclimation. If you've never done something like this before, make sure you start gradually. If a bunch of pro swimmers are doing a cold plunge or they're doing a cold swim and they're used to this, you probably need to warm up to it. Pun intended. You gotta make sure you're building into it. Have supervision and be smart. Don't do anything that you'll regret in the future. And while we're in the open water, you gotta think about currents and riptides. We'll throw some visuals on the screen to see what this is, but you could be swimming in the open water, in the sea, in the ocean, and actually the water will pull away from the shoreline and you can get knocked off your feet, literally, and pulled out into the sea. And if you try and fight it, you can become exhausted. Next thing you know, you're way out far in the water, and even if you're a strong swimmer, you're scared, you're fearful, but now you're way out there and you have to swim all the way back, and this could last a relatively long period of time. So if you don't know what to do, you're putting yourself in a position that you might regret in the future. So don't put yourself in that position, and be aware of what a riptide is, what it looks like. These visuals can help illustrate that. Don't fight the water, because remember, the water is 800 times more dense than air. So you gotta swim parallel to the shore, you gotta wait it out, and most importantly, you gotta be smart and learn how to spot these things. So don't fight it, swim parallel, and if you're out in a boat, you're out in the open water, make sure you wear a life vest. Sort of not related to the riptides per se, but if you're out in the water and you're supposed to wear a life vest, follow the rules. You're supposed to wear a life vest when you're out on a jet ski when you're out on a boat, especially in the marina, any of these places. Gotta make sure you're smart when it comes to that, even if you're a good swimmer. Now, another area that's really unfortunate that a lot of swimmers have passed away is swimming intoxicated, under the influence of alcohol, other types of drugs. This can be really dangerous because you will put yourself in a position where you're taking actions that maybe your sober self wouldn't do. Your body, and alcohol specifically, it's a depressant. It's dehydrating you. So if you're swimming and you're drunk or you're under any kind of influence, you're increasing the risk that you're gonna cramp up. And if you get leg cramps while you're in the pool, well, that's not a good situation. And especially if you're doing this alone, maybe you're doing things that your mind you wouldn't do if you had a straight head on, this is where it becomes very, very dangerous. So pro tip here is don't do drugs and swim. Pretty self-explanatory, but we need to say it. And finally, swimming alone. If you're a strong swimmer, there's a little bit of overconfidence that we all have. We feel, you know what, the lifeguard, we don't even need a lifeguard. What do I need a lifeguard for? I know how to swim. They can't do anything for me. I can swim alone in the pool, in the lake, wherever. You have this overconfidence. Now, it's great to be confident around the water, but you have to be smart and you have to be safe. So just because you know how to swim, it's still dangerous to swim alone. Always make sure you're swimming with others, with supervision, with a lifeguard, and take into account all of the different things that I discussed in this video, because it is so important not only to your enjoyment of the sport, but also your safety, because I mentioned over half the population can't even swim. So our goal is to bring together the community to raise awareness for the fact that it only takes 2 inches of water and 2 minutes to drown. It is a leading cause of death amongst children and adults. So let's raise awareness. Let's raise funds. So get your gold medal. Sign up for that Apple Watch by using the hashtag World Swim Day by sharing your swimming story. Check out the MySwimPro app to do the official World Swim Day workout. And of course, check out Swim Strong Foundation. All our proceeds in this campaign are gonna go towards them and other amazing organizations that are helping save lives and improve our water safety. I wish you guys the very best and happy swimming.